All right, and it seems like we're about ready to go, so I'll throw it over to SayviTV with Dark Souls 3.
Hi. Welcome. We're going to start Dark Souls 3.
Let's go, boys. Let's get hype.
I guess I say start at something? Okay. Start. No? Okay.
All right, good luck. So yeah, at the start of the run, we start off as Assassin and Fire Gem as Burial Gift. Assassin is going to be used because having Spook at the start of the run is going to be really useful for a couple of Spook quit-outs, we like to call them, in the later stages of the run. And Fire Gem is going to be useful for a glitch called Tumble Buff, which we're going to be showing probably at the second boss. Tumble Buff is basically a glitch that allows us to buff a non-buffable weapon, in this case a fire-infused short sword, which is going to be useful because we're going to do like a lot of damage to bosses early in the game. And coming up is our first boss, Gundyr. Pretty good. So the cycle for Gundyr, we actually use a cycle for this boss. You start off 5 R1s as he's getting up, and then you get behind him, you do 2 R1s, and then 2 times 3 R1s, and then 2 two-handed charge R3s for a restagger, and then 2 R1s to finish him. And that was Gundyr.
I think one main, really important part about actually fighting bosses in Dark Souls 3 is a stagger count. So usually I end up counting. The stagger count was at 8, for example. And most boss fights I will have to end up counting, so I can't exactly explain what I'm doing in the boss fight, but Dark's going to cover that for me.
Yeah, so we're now in Firelink. We're going to buy a couple of things at the start of the run. We're going to buy Bones, Heal Aid, Short Sword, and a Talisman, if I'm not mistaken. Heal Aid and Talisman are going to be used to perform the glitch I just talked about, called Tumble Buff. Here we're going to allot the Estes because we don't need the Ashen Estes, and it's nice to have 4 Estes at the start of the run. Also, I think we should do a roll call, might be useful. Next to me is Typo, I'm Dark, and of course Savvy is running, so... And we're off to a high wall at the start, so I think this will be a good time to read some donations, if you have any.
I have plenty of donations. Let's start from a $200 donation from Cranker saying, "Great job from everyone in front of the camera and behind the scenes for this AGDQ. These marbles goes to that beautiful Dram 2 run. Marbles, 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 marbles." We also have a $300 donation from Freelancer42 saying, "Dram 2 hype, let's make it happen." I have a $20 donation from Jacob G73 saying, "It took me 3 years of watching before I lost my grandmother to 2 types of cancer last summer, and now I have the money. I have to put my donation to the man who got me into speedrunning, Grand Pooh Bear. Let's meet this incentive with all the marbles."
Okay, so what you just saw was Savvy Savvy picked up the gold pine resin, but normally you're supposed to stand still, of course, and pick up the resin, but Savvy did a neat little animation cancel over the ledge, which allowed her to pick up the gold pine resin and then clip over the ledge at the same time. It's a small little time save. Yeah, we're just dodging some high wall mobs here. Should be fine, or it's fine. Okay. So yeah, coming up is the first instance of what we call Spook quit-outs. Basically, what we do is we cast Spook, and at the moment we're going to fall down, we're going to perform a quit-out, and that will allow us to spawn back down there, because apparently, for some reason, we can spawn down there with Spook. I don't know.
Which surprisingly is in every Dark Souls
game.
game.
Which surprisingly works in more than one Dark Souls game.
One of those amazing things that carried over from Dark Souls 1.
which is good.
Yeah.
It's a good thing.
You're going to see it get used in a few times in the run.
I do want to give you guys a quick reminder and update. We are currently at $22,793 out of the $25,000
Wow, that's
incentive
insane.
for blindfolded. So get those donations in. You have until the end of this run to get those blindfolded bosses in this run.
That is amazing, guys. Thank you so much so far.
So I normally can just walk out here, but this is part of the speedrun. You talk to Emma, and if you quit out here, you actually get teleported to the entrance again.
Yeah.
It's like a neat feature, so thought I might as well keep it in. So I'm also about to tumble buff, so I'll be using the gold pine resin to buff my sword, well, my fire sword, pretty much.
Yeah, so you're going to see the first instance of tumble buff being used here. So we're going to use the gold pine resin on the fire-infused short sword, which we can't use. But the action of using it will get stored in the game memory. But then by using Heal Aid and drinking an Estus, the game will still override that action onto the fire-infused short sword, which allows us to still use this on the fire-infused short sword with just a bit more damage. Okay, that's really good. Nice, good job. Okay, that was really good. So everything went like a bit quickly there, but I'll try and explain what happened. So normally what we use here is a strat called no charge forward, where we do a specific amount of hits to stagger him out of the charge he does before he goes into second phase, which is, it saves a bit of time. I believe it's like 7 seconds or 6 seconds.
It's also kind of based on the RNG he gives you, so he gave me the kind of poke attack, which doesn't give me a lot of time to actually get hits off. Hence why normally by rotation he doesn't do anything after I stagger him, but since I didn't have enough hits, my stamina was kind of depleted and the rotation was not perfect.
Yeah. So say we just picked up like a couple of alluring skulls, which are going to be used later in the run for a couple of occasions. These dogs are not being kind.
Yeah, this particular area seems to be a bit of a nuisance.
Okay, so we're going to pick up the Estus shard here at the
I see a teleporting dog.
Yeah, for some reason this game has a weird property where if dogs get like outside of your vision, the game can randomly teleport them towards you somewhere. It's really weird. Also, Savvy picked up the charcoal pine resin here, which is going to be used to do another tumble buff for their Abyss Watchers boss and High Lord Wolnir, which we're going to see pretty soon. But yeah, this is nothing more than running through Undead Settlement, so if you have any more donations, now would be a good time.
You betcha. I have a $500 donation from Tangang saying, nothing to see here, move along. Gotta get working on that Dram 2 incentive. Thank you very much. We have a $150, oh, there's some clapping. Sorry, I don't want to interrupt, you know? I have a $150 donation from Ben with the pen saying, just in case people haven't noticed, you can donate to Grand Poober playing Dram World. Half all other priorities, this has to be met. Also, you know, kill cancer dead and stuff.
So this elevator is going to come up, but Savvy casted Spook, and we're just going to, you know, just run off and then roll off the elevator. No need to wait until it comes up. So that Ice Knight just passes you.
And does he ever give any weird RNG, or is it generally pretty easy?
It's generally pretty easy, yeah.
Okay.
There's not a lot to it. So Savvy's going to grab the bonfire here for probably the most notorious skip in the game, coming up called Fair and Keep skip. We'll explain it in a little bit, but I think Savvy might need some quiet time for this one because this skip is pretty annoying, if I have to say.
Let's put it this way, if you've messed up, you probably can, there's a higher chance of you actually dying, so. It's not a fun skip if you actually mess
Yeah,
up.
so we're going to explain what the skip is in just a little bit, but I'm going to give Savvy the time to hopefully get this first try.
Hopefully not die.
Okay, that dog suicided, that's good. Oh, that's all right. I mean, I was kind of hoping that we would die here because this is normally what happens in runs, you know. This is basically Dark Souls 3 speedruns in a nutshell right now, where you spend like 8 or 9 minutes of the game just running through the game and then getting up here and trying to jump out of that gap, which causes a so-called death cam, which we're going to use to skip a part of Fair and Keep with. We're going to explain that in just a little bit. But could try and do a quit out here, yeah.
Someone's backseeing me.
Real quick, I do want to note that we did meet the incentive for blindfolded bosses.
Nice. Thank you so much, guys.
That will be happening after this run.
A bit too early. So we only have like a couple of frames for this jump to get into the death cam property, as we call it. If you jump out too early, then you have another shot at it. But if you jump too late, then you fall and you die. And
Sorry.
that's all right.
Okay.
Yes, and we got it. Good job. Okay. Okay. No.
The camera got really wonky. I'm not sure why.
Yeah. So stuff can get kind of annoying
thank you.
here. So what you just saw was a skip we call a death cam, and basically, in that specific spot where you like normally fall to your death there's a kill plane and another plane which puts the camera on top view, which is normally the property you see when you're dying. So the part there is just low enough so we can run up to the slope and then jump out, but not actually touch the kill cam so we die. But we do touch the plane which is there that gives us the so-called death cam. So stuff gets a bit wonky in a death cam, the controls get twisted, and also we're going to use that to run up to the Fair and Keep area, or at least like a further part of the Road of Sacrifices area, which is not loaded there, and it should allow us to skip a large portion of the game. Okay.
I don't know if it's actually going to work anymore.
That's fine. Take your time. It should be fine.
I would say my consistency is usually high, but
This is a very difficult trick. I will take the time to read a $30 donation from
Go on.
Neophage saying, "It's always great to see Grand Pooh Bear run Dram 2. Let's see this awesome ROM hack get featured at AGDQ." We are currently at $28,000 out of the $125,000 needed to run Super Dram World 2, so get those donations in, guys.
So Savy is doing a quit out here because normally you use a skull to lure the dogs in there, but the dogs are alive now. We don't want to spend every time killing the dogs. It's pretty annoying. Yeah, this trick can be like a real nuisance. If you jump too late, then you bump up against the slope and then roll off and die. And it's a very reset-heavy point in the run. It basically skips about 2 minutes and 20 seconds. I think it was recently retimed by a bunch of Dark Souls runners. So.
We have a question coming in from the chat asking to explain what no teardrop percent means.
So basically, in the true any percent version of this game, we use a very major glitch called Teardrop, which we use a spell with to skip like very large portions of the game. But in this specific category, it's banned. So that's pretty much what it stands for. If you want to look up how it works, then go to speedsouls.com and type in Teardrop. Don't actually flood the website, but or do it. I don't know. Yes. Okay. Good job.
All right.
Okay. Go on.
I did
go
not
on.
walk off.
Good
We're
job.
fine. Sorry. I have a dog after me too. That's nice.
So this dog should respawn at the point where you run off here. Just... Oh, okay. That's not good. Okay, so normally when you run down there, the stairs, everything that's past you, or like behind you, I mean, normally despawns. So, yeah.
I have a $50 donation from Mad SVG saying, I have to donate again for my girl Savy and her amazing blind bosses. Say hype.
Thank you, Mad. Oi.
I also have a $1,000 donation from
Okay.
Kiwi238
Thank you.
saying, had to make my donation during the Dark Souls 3 run. Best of luck, no game crashes, and let's hit that Dram World incentive.
Yeah, he said game crashes. In the all bosses route we do, this game is pretty notorious for crashing. We're still not sure why. It has to do something with the DLC loads. I'm not even entirely sure. Okay, nice job again.
Okay, I think we have no dog following me. That's good. They don't usually come up this far, but...
Okay, and we're in the safe now. That's good. Okay, great job, Savy. Good stuff. Okay, so the navigation here is a bit wonky. This is the swamp area where, if you played this game, are like crabs and stuff, but this is just a white play now. There's nothing here. Nothing in this area is actually loaded. So we're going to run through this area, and if you played this game, you know there's a shortcut door which leads to the Fair and Keep perimeter bonfire, which we're going to go through now, which is not loaded in currently. We're going to do a quit out.
I have $120 from ZZ20, or Zeta Gundam ZZ20 saying, I need my bonus incentives, half to the blindfolded run and half to Super Dram World.
And we're at the other side of the door. Okay, so we're about to pick up the main weapon in the game, which we're going to use. It's the Sellsword Twin Blades. The reason you're probably asking, why are we going to use this weapon? This weapon is pretty overpowered in this game. The reason why is we're going to infuse it with Sharp Infusion. Sharp Infusion scales B, I believe, B or A on the Sellsword Twin Blades, which give it very high damage per second. And we're also going to level Dex. We're going to also level Dexterity with it, which yeah, should allow us to do a ton of damage for most of the bosses in this game.
I have a $100 donation from Quintopia saying, Woo Dram 2, let's get Pooh up and running. Put me down for $5 a death as well. I assume that means in this run.
Maybe.
Hopefully no more deaths.
Okay, so we're getting the Fair and Key perimeter bonfire here. We're getting this bonfire because after we kill Volnir, we'll have to warp here back and then go to Sage. Sage is also going to use an Ember here to restore health.
I kind of like there's the next boss. We're kind of going to glitch out. He's also interesting to see for a first timer. And for that, I actually need full HP because I need that to align this next skip or glitch.
Yeah. So we're not actually planning on fighting Watchers. We're going to use a neat glitch we call Watchers Glitch, which we're going to use. We're going to use a specific set of movements to. There's a trigger at past where you go into the boss fight, which normally should take us into the boss fight. But if we use a specific set of movements to go into that trigger and then do a quit out right as the fight starts, the Abyss Watchers should get frozen in.
Let's see.
Moment of truth, boys. And we got it first try. Nice. Good job. This also still works on current patch, by the way.
So there are a few other instances of this in other runs, right?
You mean the...
For different bosses,
This
of
watch
course.
glitch?
Yeah.
It actually works on every boss in online play. So if you're playing online, you could actually do this on any boss. I believe it has to do with people use summon in. There's a video on it on YouTube. But yeah, you don't watch that. But yeah, you could actually do that on any boss if you like.
But at least for speedrunning it in 1.04, so the patch before this, you could do Soul of Cinder, for example.
Yeah. And there was Abyss Watchers. So here you're going to see the first instance of duping. The same method we use to get a resin on a non-buffable weapon also works with Soul, but then to actually dupe the Soul. So Sayvi used the Abyss Watcher Soul and then used the same inputs for Tumble Buff to actually dupe that Soul. So she got twice the amount of souls now. So we're on our way to grab the Sharp Gem, which we're going to use to infuse the Sellsword Twin Blades, which is right over here. These very friendly Grave Wardens, which are usually pretty innocent, Kappa.
Okay. That's usually pretty scary to actually walk past.
Okay. So maybe this would be a good time if you have any more donations. There's not really a lot that's coming up.
Sure. I have $25 from Corridol245 saying, "Greetings to y'all from Cologne. AGDQ is my favorite event, and I spend every free minute to watch the stream. Love the people, love the skills, and the runs. It is amazing to see how this event keeps developing every year. Man, these overlays are so nice this year. Big thank you to all of you, and good luck to SayviTV for her run. Girl power. Shoutouts to my buddy Fabian, aka Fabzors."
Thank you.
So we're going to pick up the Grave Warden's ashes here. There's a couple of things we can do with these ashes. Will allow us to buy shards and bleed, which is going to be the main resin used to fight bosses with. We're currently on patch 108, which is an older version of the game. In that patch, bleed was slightly stronger than, well, slightly stronger, it was actually a lot stronger than what it actually is now. So it's going to do a lot of damage on bosses coming up. Coming up is our friend Volnir. So we're also going to use Tumble Buff for Wolnir, just because it's really powerful. Okay, so the first bracelet breaks in 3 hits. The second one should break in 8 hits. It's going to be 5 hits for the final bracelet. We're going to do 4 here and then wait until his arm goes back and do another R1. And then he's dead. So we're back to Firelink now to get some upgrades for the Cell Swords, which we're going to use. So we're going to buy 9 bleed, a couple of bones, and some shards. And a dagger, of course. The dagger is going to be useful for an instance we call dagger walking. Dagger walking is basically where you use the weapon art of the dagger to get through swamp areas, which usually block your movement. But you can use the weapon art of the dagger to like dash through the swamp. So we're going to get 12 Vigor and 34 Dexterity here. And next on our way is Crystal Sage, our favorite boss of this game.
The reason he says that is because this is pretty much the most RNG heavy boss we can get. And if you want to PB and he dances around for 40 seconds, you can just reset. It doesn't. And you can't really trigger the attack or anything. It's just RNG.
Yeah. So we're going to wait for Crystal Sage to do a specific attack, which is called Soul Mass. When Sage is doing Soul Mass, he can actually teleport away, which is useful because normally you would want to kill him at stage 1. In stage 2, he spawns clones, which makes the fight really annoying, really slow. So what you do in any % no teardrop is you run into the boss room and you wait for Sage to do Soul Mass. At the point where he does Soul Mass, you can cycle around him, and then he should be dead in the first phase of the fight. So I think we got like 40 seconds for more donations if you have any.
Is this a good time for me to mention some incentives?
Yeah, probably.
Cool. All right. We have a couple of incentives that are still open. We have for Final Fantasy IV, we have Young's Vegetables. If you want to make him eat some vegetables, we have about 4,000 out of 20,000. An important one is a link to the past randomizer swordless mode. We are at 36,984 out of 50,000. So if you want to see them play the game swordless, you got to go for that. And we also have $36,000 out of $125,000 for Super Dram World 2. So get those donations in, guys.
Good job.
Oh,
and that was Sage. So for Sage's appearance on a GDQ run, he gave us pretty good RNG. That was not the worst.
The rotation wasn't perfect, but
yeah,
he started meleeing me.
Yeah.
If you've seen that before, sometimes he'll just sit there and do that same attack that you saw the first 2 times over and over and over again.
I think the record is like, he spent like, what, maybe over 2 or 3 minutes just dancing around doing nothing, basically not giving us the attack we won. So it's like a really RNG heavy point of the run. So we just picked up the Herald Armor. The Herald Armor is useful because it slightly gives more physical resistance, which is just going to be a bit more useful than the Assassin Armor.
Plus it has a cape, which is cool.
Yeah. Oh, there's another instance of teleporting dogs. And there's again. So we picked up an Estus shard, and the dog just won't go away. Let's see how long he lasts. Okay, we should be good. So Sayvi just picked up an Estus shard. Estus shards give us 1 more Estus than what we have currently. We currently have 5, so we should get 6. We're also going to make a slight detour, pick up another Ash Shears called an Undead Bone Shard. Undead Bone Shards basically reinforce the strength of the Estus, so it heals more HP with drinking 1 Estus, which is just going to be a bit more useful. And this will basically just us be running through Cathedral of the Deep, so if you have any more donations, this would be a good time.
Awesome. I have $150 from Anonymous saying, great incentives, great cause. Happy to make my first ever donation and hope to continue for years to come as AGDQ keeps doing great work. Love me some Dark Souls. Gotta see some bosses get wrecked blindfolded. We have $150 from Salander saying, great event. Thanks to all the runners and the tech crew for an awesome week. Donation goes to Swordless Mode for a Link to the Past randomizer.